Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're doing very, very well. Now, today is the day, at long last, that Kilt-Man is going to open this box here. Those of you who've been keeping up with the channel of late will know that our good friend and super channel contributor Steve 007 Smith, yes, you know him, you love him, the guy that sends all the fabulous movie canvases to Kilt Mansion and has now bedecked every wall, smothered the entire dwelling with this lavish movie artwork. He sent another one, that one down there, and he sent it. Now, this is what's been bugging the hell out of me. He sent it over a week ago, and it's been here for a week, about 10 days now, I think, which is an unparalleled length of time for me not to have opened the mystery package. Christ almighty. But as I've been trying to say throughout various other videos, that I've been really looking forward to this. And but things, real life, yeah, that entity, that weird amorphous entity known as stuff, has kept getting in the way and derailing me. Now, I know I've done videos since this arrived, and I know Steve's been sitting there going, well, Kilt-Man, you could easily have just unboxed it during this video. What was stopping you? Well, I kind of wanted to do a special one for this. And the way it's happened, as luck would have it, my works system is down, so I can't work. Yay! So I thought, well, use your time constructively, Kilt-Man. Open that damn box! So I'm going to do it. You can see lots of clues here as to what I think's in that box. And the thing is, I've been posting little sort of elements and stuff on the channel and on Facebook and that I know, or I think I know what's in here. Because you guys, you're aware that what happens is Steve will send me these mystery canvases, but he'll also send me some clues. He'll message me with some clues as to what is contained within the box. And that's the game that we play. Now, as I always at this junction in time always say, that I think I'm running at 90 to 95% of being correct. But there has been a few in the last few months where I've definitely gone down the wrong path and completely ballsed it up. But, you know, you live and learn, don't you? And but I think I've got this one. I mean, as the plethora of imagery around here, and I'm playing the soundtrack to the film that I think the canvas artwork is of. And it is, of course, the Howard Hawks' Christian Nyby 1951 seminal sci-fi horror classic, The Thing from Another World. Yeah, oh wow. Now, I have mentioned this movie a gazillion times. I've probably discussed a lot of elements from it. I think I've done videos on it, actually. But I've certainly I've certainly covered the John Carpenter remake from 1982, The Thing, which is more in keeping with the original 1938 novella Who Goes There, written by superb sci-fi, guru, John W. Campbell Jr. See how I throw in extra descriptive words and then forget the actual person's name? This is what I do. I run down little paths, verbalizing, and then forget, oh shit, I need a detail, I need a fact here, and I'm going to get it wrong, because I've distracted myself. Anyway, try and keep up. So, not whiskey. No whiskey left. Damn it. So, anyway, the clues that Steve 007 Smith sent to me were, this is a film, it's a horror film, again, horror classic he called it, because of late there's been a lot of movie canvases where they've been action movies, thrillers, sci-fi. They've not been a horror movie. Now, some would say that The Thing from Another World is not specifically a horror movie. It is a sci-fi horror classic. It is definitely a horror movie, but it's definitely sci-fi as well. But the clues were, we're back in classic horror territory. It's a film that most kids nowadays wouldn't have ever heard of, wouldn't know of. Okay, that covers a huge gamut of classics. And if you're talking classic horror, we've covered Frankenstein, we've covered the Wolfman. There is Dracula, there is the Mummy, there's a lot of other stuff which, you know, it could be in here. But there's always one little clue which ignites something in my mind that always seems to fire it up and go like, right, I think I know what it is, it's this. And I always do try to fire back a sort of veiled message saying, which kind of hints that I might be I'm on the path of this way. And the other big clue which kind of gave it away was, he said it's a TV favourite on Halloween. Now, when I've because I've had time to think about it since, obviously, and I could be wrong. Of course I could be wrong. That's most of the fun, is the fact that I could be bloody wrong about this. But, so I thought, well, when I was backtracking, double bills, TV double bills on BBC and all that, like the old creature features. And the Thing from Another World definitely played in some of these, and it was a perennial favourite late night Friday or Saturday night TV. That's how I was first introduced to it at a very, very young age, and my God, did I love the movie, and still do. Absolutely revere it as a masterpiece. But he said that Halloween, and I thought, well, you know, it wasn't specifically a film that I ever saw at Halloween, but Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween, 1978. Little Lindsay and Tommy Doyle, who are being babysat while Michael Myers is going killing all the other babysitters around. They're watching the Horrorthon on TV in Haddonfield. And the two films in that Horrorthon are... Alright, I'll help you out. It's Forbidden Planet. Yes. Monsters of the Id. The Krell. Oh my God. Great movie. I've covered that massively on the channel already. And then there is The Thing from Another World. Whoa. And of course, the reason why it's in there, those two films were massive formative influences on John Carpenter. And of course, John Carpenter went on to do The Thing, his own adaptation, a more faithful adaptation of John W. Campbell Jr.'s original novella, about a shape-shifting, amorphous alien entity discovered in the ice in Antarctica. So, that was the clue that gave it away for me. And I did send back a little sort of message to him saying, oh, I don't know, where's to the effect of, like, I've got flurries of ideas. Now, I was getting it, flurries of snow, thinking, oh, he'll get onto that. And I think he did. And the fact that I've been hinting in the last 10 days that I know what it is. I've had people in the pub who watch the videos and they go, are you going to open that bloody box? And I'm going, yeah, I'll do it tonight. But you come back, and then you get a phone call and something happens and you just can't do it. So, anyway, no distractions. Listen to that. Someone knocking on the portcullis of Kilt Mansion. The phone going. The servants will take care of it. We will not be derailed this time around, I promise you. So, I think it's The Thing from Another World. So, I mean, there's no other sort of things. He didn't say creature feature. He did not mention that at all, because that would have thrown me down the likes of Creature of the Black Lagoon or Them. Oh, God, Them. What? Besides The Thing from Another World, Them is the greatest of creature features. These two films really, really vie for top slot in the classic, sort of the Silver Age, the Atomic Age, you could call it, of the black and white 1950s style of creature features, all mutations and stuff, alien visitations. Them is outstanding. I do not think for 1 second that is Them in there. Them is the one about the giant ants. Giant ants. The giant ants. Terrifying creatures they are. Where are the ants? The ants are everywhere, you know. Do they wear hats on their heads? Right, I'm stalling for time here, folks, but you know. This glorious soundtrack, very strident, very raucous, brash, militaristic, but also full of spine-tingling sci-fi sort of sounds, because it's the great Dmitri Tiomkin, there's a tongue twister for you, Dmitri Tiomkin, who in 1951 composed for The Thing from Another World whereas Bernard Herrmann in the same year composed for the other seminal classic sci-fi movie from that period, The Day the Earth Stood Still. One's a nasty alien, one's a benign alien that's giving a warning to the Earth, and he's got a bloody big robot with him. If we don't listen to his warning, that robot will be unleashed. And Bernard Herrmann composed for The Day the Earth Stood Still. The similarity between the two movies, they both used the theremin. You're hearing it now in the background. That warbling electronic sound. It sounds like sort of electro-sizzling wind whistling around, and it's genuinely unearthly. And it's a huge electronic gadget with like a wire going around, and you manipulate the sound waves, what is triggered, by moving your hands around the curvature of these bars. But like that thing, you know, where the thing in the fun fair or the little toy gadget where it's all electrified, and you've got like a little sort of handheld device with a little circle on it, and you start off, you've got to go round this thing, and if you touch it, it goes zzz, you know, and all that. Well, it's a very similar sort of concept, only you are manipulating the sound waves. That's it. That's the theremin there. And it's a wonderful, wonderful device. And it really does encapsulate the sound of these spooky sci-fi spectaculars. So, anyway, I don't want to waste too much time on the preamble when I am so utterly, almost to an unparalleled level, convinced that that's what's in this box. But it might not be, in which case, all of this, if you're wondering why he's here, it's because when they were doing the creature designs for The Thing from the World, which again, not like John Carpenter's movie and not like the original novella, the novel, the story is set in Antarctica, as is John Carpenter's movie, and it's an amorphous, shape-shifting entity which can assume the identities of the characters in the story, creating chaos and paranoia and mistrust. But in Howard Hawks' movie, it's just a huge lumbering spaceman in a boiler suit with massive thorns on his knuckles, and he can grow flesh again because he's a super carrot. He's built out of vegetable matter, so use your axe because guns don't make a difference on him at all. And it's played by James Arness from TV's Gunsmoke, who was also in the film Them, playing a big lumbering FBI agent investigating the giant ants and all these mysterious deaths in the desert. And they come up with different ideas for him. We can't do John W. Campbell's amorphous shape-shifting alien. We can't do that. Let's just make him some kind of monster. It's a physical threat, right? So, and I've seen all the design work they had for him. Not very good, to be honest. So in the end, Howard Hawks, the great Howard Hawks, just said Lee. I've got it written down here somewhere. Lee Greenway did the makeup effects for James Arness as the Thing. He said, just make him look like Frankenstein. Of course, when you say Frankenstein, as we all know, is the scientist. Frankenstein's monster is the creature. So when he said, make him like Frankenstein, but we kind of know what he means. So the Boris Karloff for Universal Pictures, that was the look they were going for. Only there's no hair on the James Arness creature, and he's got a big fod and all that. But it is very similar, the lumbering look and the brutish nature of him. But you don't see his face in too much close-up, which is just as well because it's not that good. There's not a great deal there. James Arness wasn't... Well, there's two schools of thought. He didn't like the makeup, and he didn't want to be seen up close. I've heard lots of conflicting stories. You'll also hear conflicting stories about who directed this movie. Christian Nyby has the credit of directing the film, but Howard Hawks has his stamp all over it. He's the producer. He was the guy that got the movie off the ground. He chose all the cast. He made all the decisions. Now, in a case that could be described as being similar to, did Tobe Hooper actually direct Poltergeist, even though Steven Spielberg was on the set the entire time, and everyone says, no, and even looking at the film, it's Steven Spielberg's movie, far more so than Tobe Hooper's. But, some people go, no, Tobe directed it, and Spielberg says, no, Tobe directed that movie. But the jury's still out. Well, in the case of The Thing, the jury is still out. The cast have had, the surviving members of the cast had many reunions. And they would always say different things. They'd say, oh, well, no, Howard Hawks was on the set every single day. And every decision that was made, well, Christian Nyby would defer it to Howard Hawks. Do you think we should do it this way? Oh, you don't? Oh, well, how should we do it? Oh, we'll do it your way then. You know what I mean? So the ownership of this movie very definitely lands with Howard Hawks. The overlapping dialogue, the sort of static one camera shots, where the camera may move. I said static there, didn't I? But static shots of like literally 12 to 15 people in one shot who are all talking at each other, overlapping. John Carpenter copied that for his version of the thing as well. That overlapping dialogue and having the entire cast all standing in a line, talking to one another or in a circle. He involved a lot. That was a throwback to this movie, of course. But Howard Hawks' stamp is all over it. You know, you've got Margaret Sheridan who plays Nikki, who's the glamour piece living at the North Pole scientific outpost, where our heroic Captain Hendry, played by Kenneth Tobey, US Air Force guys, who've got to go in there to join the scientific team to work out what the hell just crash landed in the snow and ice over that way. And then they go and fly over there and they find that there's where it landed, and there's where the ice melted around it. You know, the bottleneck caused there by the ice melting, and they land. Let's try and spread out and like work out the size and shape of this thing. It is. It's round. We finally got one. A flying saucer. Oh yes. And then, in the infinite wisdom of the military and the scientific mob as well, they used thermite to melt this thing out of the ice. The spaceship, they mean. But burning under the ice, and they fucking blow the flying saucer up as well. Oh, well, that's just dandy. You know, a new civilization lit up like the 4th of July, says Scotty, played by goggle-eyed Douglas Spencer, who would also be seen in This Island Air with a big fod as an alien. But he plays Scotty, this reporter, who tags along with our heroic Air Force team whilst in Alaska. And, like, they're having a drink in there, and he just, you know, Scotty's a warm weather man, you know, we've been at Ankara, you know, where the women wear nothing but bikinis and fan you all day long. What are you doing up here in the snow and ice then, Mr. Scott? Looking for a story. Why would a fucking reporter be looking for a story up in the North Pole, Alaska, and then the North Pole? Why would you be up there? Why? Because he's the audience conduit. He's us responding. He's coming up with ridiculous questions. You know, an intelligent carrot, the mind boggles, you know, all this kind of stuff. Like, he's coming out with all the things, and he can rip the piss out of the military for blowing this thing up and then denying him the ability to tell the story over the radio to all the other radio and news networks. Because he's like, no, you know, not working for the world, we're working for the US government and all this kind of stuff. So he can then take the piss out of the army, the Air Force, and the scientific mob. He's us. He's asked the ridiculous questions. That's why he's there, and he's great as well. He's a great character. You know, he's covered a lot of things in the past. Like you know, they've got Dr. Carrington at this place, played by the awesome Robert Cornthwaite, who would be seen, I think, a couple of years afterwards in George Powell's The War of the Worlds in colour. And the difference between him in that and this is chalk and cheese, because in this, although he's only a young man, they've greyed him up, they've given him a goatee beard, they've slicked his hair back, and they've made him look like he's meant to be in his 50s when he's only about, like, I don't know, 25, 28, something like that, you know. And but he's great. He's the scientific mindset. No, this thing, this creature, you know, which is as different from us as one pole from the other, you know, we can learn so much from it because they've blown the spaceship up and they're, oh, fucking hell, you know, what dickheads. And then, but they find the creature, the pilot, has been blown out from it and frozen in the ice. So they go and find him and they chop around a big block of ice. They bring him back, put him on the plane, bring him back to the North Pole outpost. Whereupon, I think it's Corporal Barnes gets the shits because the ice is clearing on this ice block and you can see the face. You know, it's got crazy eyes and no hair. You know, oh, I wasn't in there for long and it's got me too, sir, says the awesome Dewey Martin as he plays, what's his name in it? It's Crew Chief Bob. I've done a massive video on this guy, this character alone, Crew Chief Bob. No decision gets made in this entire movie without Crew Chief Bob either coming up with it in the first place or advising, no, well, I think we should do this. And even Captain Henry, Kenneth Toby, who you see in The Howling, the start of Howling, he has a nice cameo in there. He's in It Came From Beneath the Sea as well, for Ray Harryhausen, and many other movies. Now, he might be the guy in charge, and they're at loggerheads with the scientific team, but it's Dewey Martin playing Crew Chief Bob, who comes up with all the best suggestions. We do this, we do that. He comes up with how to kill the bloody thing, how to combat it, using everything he comes up with. How to help one another when they're all panicking. He's the guy. No one would survive this entire encounter in the North Pole without Crew Chief Bob. It'd be a massacre. The Thing would win. So, but you've got Corporal Barnes there who's sitting doing his watch, and but it's because it's freezing in there. They smashed the windows out so the ice block doesn't melt. They're waiting for instructions from General Fogarty back in Alaska to what should we do with this thing? We destroyed the flying saucer, but the bad weather's knocking all the transmissions out, so they can't get in proper contact with each other. So they're cut off and isolated to all intents and purposes. And but Corporal Barnes, well, it's Crew Chief Bob. So look, the other guy who's in there, he's squawking, So I got him a pot of coffee, electric blanket, because they've smashed the windows out so this thing does not, melt. But of course, Corporal Barnes, being a dickhead, looks at it and we see an enigmatic shot, very blurred and distorted through the crystalline, sort of dented ice structure that this thing's encased in. And we see this face, and it looks like he's got big bug eyes, which he doesn't actually have in the movie itself when we see him thawed. And but Barnes puts the fucking electric blanket over it so we can't see it, and then sits there with his coffee. And of course, it melts the fucking ice, doesn't it? Dickhead. So in a way, you could say that maybe Crew Chief Bob caused it as well, because it was his suggestion to get an electric blanket. I don't know. Anyway, folks, look, I've waffled on about it, and you know this movie. Of course you do. It's an absolute perennial favourite. Although, Steve W. Smith said, other kids won't know this one. I don't know. If you've seen The Thing, then again, because kids nowadays, and when we say kids, my kids are aware of this movie and pretty much all the original classics from when they were at a very young age. That's how I was introduced to the genre. So I introduced my kids to it. I can't know what he means, but I think if people like teens and 20-somethings are introduced to the Thing from John Carpenter, then by the way, this is based on an earlier movie, and they go and dig that out and watch that, they're gonna think, fucking hell, what the shit that is. No, they're not. No, they're not. Genuinely not. This film has so much tension, suspense, such great dialogue, even though they're archetypal characters from that era. The hard-hitting, sort of acerbic, sarcastic military men, the hard-line, brittle idiocy of the scientific mob. And but you've got the Margaret Sheridan as Nikki's not the damsel in distress. She's actually a wisecracking, dame. She's good. She gives as good as she gets. And the sexual politics are actually way in advance of that era as well. And again, that's Howard Hawks for you, having a strong female character in there. And she's wonderful. She's wonderful. And she's one of the ones that comes up with the idea, what do you do with a vegetable? Oh, I don't know. Stew it, cook it, roast it, And I go, yeah, you could be having some in there. Guns don't have effect on it. And if you use an axe, it'll grow another arm. Because what does the Thing do? The Thing has seed pods under its nails and that, on its flesh. And Dr. Carrington realises, hang on a minute, if I use blood plasma and we get a little sort of, a little allotment going, a little market garden, and he grows these seedlings into like these pulsating sort of sacs of what's going to be new things, but they're living on blood. We know it lives on blood because it's already killed two of the scientific team and smacked the head of another one, like he just about got out and survived to tell the tale. But when they see the bodies in there, in a scene which was cut, but they did film it, the 2 bodies are hanging from the rafters with their throats slit because it's trying to breed its own kind again. But it's had an arm ripped off by the sled dogs, and in a big, when it first escapes into the snow and ice, the dogs all attack it, and it swings around like a dummy dog and howls at the other ones. But they find this severed arm underneath the body of the dog. They bring it back, and it comes to life when they're all gathered round studying it in a terrific moment. I'm going to play that music now. A hand. Theremin. They're all watching as the knuckles begin to rap on the desk. And it's a great effect as well. They're all discussing how plant life can communicate, and this thing, this, hear that? That's in time with the thorny knuckles rapping on the table. Oh, it's brilliant. It's just brilliant. But when they discover it in the greenhouse where it's killed these 2 scientists, it's grown another arm because it can regenerate itself. So there's concepts of sort of shape changing by regrowing, regenerating flesh, whether it's vegetable pulp or what. But it can sustain itself. So these elements are a bit more beyond just the standard bogeyman walking around. That's finding a sled dog which has been drained of all its blood for that specific purpose, of course. Anyway, folks, this would be great if after all of this, it's them, or it's Dracula, or it's the creature of the Black Lagoon. But I think that clue about Halloween is that I don't think it's Forbidden Planet, because I don't think you could ever really call that classic horror, where you can say that The Thing from Another World is classic horror. And by the way, it was originally just called The Thing, and only at the last minute did Howard Hawks say there's another film with that title in it, so we need to add something, separate it from that. So it's The Thing comes burning through the screen, and The Thing, which John Carpenter recreated for the opening of his movie. The Thing sizzles through the screen, and then you get like From Another World at the bottom of the screen. But it does differentiate the 2 movies. So, and something else I should add here. Steve sent me a message saying, "Have you got that canvas yet?" And I was sitting working at the time, and I went, "No." He said, "Are you sure?" He said, They've sent me a picture of it being delivered. It looks like it's by your wheelie bin." Now this was a Friday. Our bin day is Fridays. Who's the courier service? It's Hermes. Now Hermes have been great with these for years, but Hermes do have a really wretched reputation. I know from my own dealings with them, where they'll put things, they don't even knock at your door. They'll put things in your bin. Now if it's bin day, they might leave a message on your tracking thing, on your app. "Oh, we put it in your bin." If it's bin day, then you fucking lost it. You know what I mean? So they put this by my bin. I ran out there, found it. It was okay. But the box, I'm going to show you now, the box is absolutely knackered. That's not me, I've not knackered it. But it's stoved in. It had sellotape. They don't normally have sellotape on it. Sellotape all over it. But it wasn't stuck down. It was all like blasted. The weather wasn't good either at the time, so. But it's all, and in fact, I thought that was open. Could have sworn that was open. Oh, there's it. Oh, the other side. I don't know. But it's been stoved in, and I was like, oh no. But anyway, let's hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed that there's no damage on the interior. Which would be kind of apt, I suppose. You know, our heroes blow up the alien spaceship out of just sheer clumsiness, and this gets damaged out of sheer fucking clumsiness. Right. So, anyway. Oh God. Well, if it's not The Thing, hey, it's still going to be spectacular. And then I'm going to have to suddenly think about what to talk about, because it could be something. I do this. No, I can talk about any movie, but my mind has been so fixated upon this movie that it suddenly changed tack now. Could be fun. Cheers, Steve. I am so sorry it's took so long. Right. Now, it could be upside down, folks. I don't know. Oh. It's not going to take much to get into this. Okay. Right. I'm going to have to swing this round because I'm going to do the usual trick. I hope this is not upside down. It's encased in cellophane. It's against, a background. No, I can't see what's on. I can't see what the image is. Skin do. I'll slit the cellophane. I'll try that again. I'll slit the cellophane, I said. Okay, let's try and get some appropriate music. Oh yeah, I know what to put on. I think this is going to build. This is like uncovering the flying saucer, and they're going to. Oh, hang on a minute. Is it? This is what I wanted. It's when they realise it's a circle. It's round. Okay. Come on. Whoa, God. Look at that. Look at that. I like the way it's in black and white as well. It's not like been colourised. Makes it look even more vivid, doesn't it? Jesus, that is... Well, I was right. First thing, I was right. Second, fucking hell. That looks amazing. Do you know what that scene, folks? That's they know he's escaped from the greenhouse, the thing, and he's wandering around camp. So they're on the camp intercom. I thought it'd be, ooh, what a gay day. They're like, listen, alert everybody in camp. Our visitor's escaped from the greenhouse and he's on the loose again. So watch who you with, watch every door and all that. And the great thing in the movie is that every single time, once this thing is on the loose and you know it's dangerous, every time a door opens, everyone looks at that door. No matter where they are in the room, it could be a big set. They're all looking like that. It's wonderfully well done. Oh, this looks amazing. I love that. And they realise, well, guns have an effect on it. Well, what about trying fire? What if we burn him? So they've got a Geiger counter because he's radioactive. I know he's coming towards this room, and the door, he's right outside the door, and they've got like they're hiding behind like mattresses. It's like a bunk room, so use them, hold that against you, and they've got cans of kerosene and a flare pistol, so they're going to douse him in kerosene and set him on fire. And it's not James Arness in that sequence, apart from that moment there when he comes in the door. It's a fella called Tom Steele, not Tommy Steele. Not the old entertainer Tommy Steele in a big asbestos suit. And it's quite a complex sequence as well, with a huge full body flame out effect. And he's knocking people all over the place. And then he runs and he jumps through a window and like just runs off on fire into the snowy wasteland outside. It's a wonderful set piece, genuinely frightening. And it's just that moment when the door opens and he's there. Look at that. That is brilliant. That's Captain Hendry there. I think that's Crew Chief Bob standing here. I think. Don't know. How could you tell? That is fantastic. And I love sort of look at this, the shadow and the sort of German impressionistic sort of thing there. It's almost like the angles of the cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Tell I'm excited. I'm speaking over myself. I've got my own overlapping dialogue going on. Look at that. Dewey Martin, yes. Oh yeah, because the screenplay was by Charles Lederer. But believe it or not, just put this down for a second. There's a fella called Ben Hecht who worked on it as well, but Howard Hawks apparently reworked a lot of what they were writing. But just to add sort of a bit of more interest to this, I've got a screenplay here, which is known as, I didn't put it in the big pink folder, that's how I got it. And this is the original script, the first draft of The Thing, when it was just called The Thing. But The Thing first draft screenplay, but weirdly enough, now this can't be right. It's written by John W. Campbell. Can you see that? You probably can't see that. John W. Campbell never wrote an adaptation of his own novella, to my knowledge. It was Charles Lederer and Ben Hecht, and then obviously Howard Hawks reworked it again, and they went through a couple of different iterations of that screenplay. And reading through it, some of the characters are different. A lot of the dialogue's the same, some of it isn't, and there's a few more extra bits in it as well, like which is nice. But you can see the version that we got is far better than this screenplay. But I just find it odd that it's supposedly written by John W. Campbell. In all my research, I've never found that he did anything. I mean, he lived after the movie got made, so he saw the movie. But I don't think he had a hand in actual writing of any screenplays for it, any drafts of it. But it is a nice bit of sort of weird memorabilia to have. Oh, another thing I brought down in my breathless anticipation of being correct is that there is a published sequel to the movie called The Things. A nice image of snowy wasteland there. I'm not even going to say the author's name because this is the biggest pile of shit I've ever read. It is so badly written when even the first sentence doesn't make any sense. It's hard to read. Grammatically and punctuation wise, it is all over the show. The characters are just complete and utter crap, and it's absolute garbage. But I'll admit that the idea behind it was good, and the idea behind it was that the story of that movie happened, but that he wasn't alone. There was other aliens who were, they're called aliens, not things, who arrive, and they land in Northern Europe, Norway and that, and they're pushing down through Europe, and the Americans, it's 1950s again, and the Americans and all allied forces from Europe are fighting these things, and but they do move as a mob, and they kill a lot of people, and they move the bodies out, and they're trying to harvest and make new. Well, I'm making stuff up here because I couldn't get more than about 10-15 pages into this. It was just so terribly written, that great idea, utterly squandered, sadly. And I won't name the author because that wouldn't be fair, but it's garbage. My opinion, folks. Published author, don't you know? I am. But let's look at this again. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, that's the image on the front of the soundtrack, which is playing, as you know, and that's slightly colorized, as you can see there. But I love the fact that is stark black and white, as the movie is. Look at that. It's very sort of what's the phrase I'm looking for? Not expressionistic. It's very sort of like your two-tone panels from that era in comic books. It's very abrupt, very completely in your face, very stark. And yes, folks, there is a phrase I'm looking for, and I cannot for the life of me think what it is. Someone let me know. But look at that, the shiveriness of the title font when it comes burning through the screen. But it also looks like frozen, frigid, little tendrils of ice, you know, all around it. And then, as you can see from Another World, you can quite clearly see, from what I said before, how that got changed. The Thing! Oh yeah, from Another World. But I do like that full title. And they will work out how to kill this thing in the end. They will electrocute it in a great standoff down the corridor. It's got a huge wooden plank in its hand. It's already battered aside Robert Cornthwaite as Dr. Carrington. It's knocked him, skittled him down. And then it's got to be on the walk. Captain, it's got to be on the walkway. They've wired up a generator. He's turned off the heating, so they're freezing, you know. But they've got this thing rigged up. He's got to be on that walkway. They'll reduce him. So they throw a shovel down. So James Arness, the Thing, leaps onto the walkway. And with each successive step, let's get down to it. Oh, hang on there. Listen. That's him taking a step towards them. And then he hit the juice, and he's like, it's jagged, like electric bolts. And he starts steaming, and he's like, and he gets smaller. And they're using a great little. They cut away from James Arness, go back, and there's a little dwarf fella in the same sort of boiler suit, and he's going like that. But it's great because you're like, wow, he has shrunk. And a little steaming pile of nothing left at the end. And then they're going like, Scotty, did you get your picture? And Scotty's got his glove in his mouth, and he's going, just passes out. And then he stand there and go like that. That old school stuff, like, gee heck, But you will get Scotty's final speech at the end. That epic sort of, way of sending off anyone with the creeps from a movie like that. Keep watching, keep looking, watch the skies, He gives a warning to everyone, keep watching the skies. And it's just amazing. The film is a masterpiece. The moments of tension are unparalleled. The suspense that's built up, the setting is really well evoked as well. And I will say the thing that's got over John Carpenter's The Thing is that this film actually feels colder. Yeah, I know. You've got Kurt Russell in The Thing, and he's all frostbitten and all that, like in a couple of sequences. Looks amazing. But there's meant to be a hellish, raging storm outside. The one thing that lets Carpenter's version down, in my opinion, and it's my favourite film of all time, is that I never once get the impression that it's that cold out there, or that storm is really, really raging. Whereas in this, you do. Each time a door opens or a window gets broken, snow billows in, like that. I mean, you just see snow outside flooding. Now, I know a lot of it's optical effect as well, like just past the screen sort of thing, past the camera. But it still really, really works. And I still get the impression that it's fucking freezing out there. Even though it's actually filmed in Cut Bank, Montana. So you're like, it's not that cold at all. And then down in California as well, like, so. But I do get the impression it's colder than. It's the main title again. Dimitri Chomkin did a lot of action movies and a lot of westerns. This I think was his only sojourn into horror sci-fi territory. I could be wrong there, but I think it's the only one he ever did. But listen how it turns. It's truly monstrous. And it gives the impression of swirling, flurries of snow and ice and drifts and howling Arctic winds. Listen. Ooh. Beautiful, beautiful. And there we go, folks. That was right. I knew all along. I genuinely knew all along. And I had wanted to try and get something rigged up where I was going to have a huge sort of ice covering and I was going to put the box underneath it, and I was going to try to like chip away at the ice. I don't know how I was going to do that. Polystyrene would have been the way. But I always have these grandiose plans and ideas. And look how hard it is just to get a friggin' video done, just to sit here and just open the box and show you. And it came out the right way, didn't it? It did come out the right way, didn't it? Yeah. Look at that. See, you can't quite tell what the face is like. Move it a bit closer. Look. But he looks intimidating, doesn't he? That's a very foreboding image, that. The door opens and he's there. You've already had a super shock sequence where Dr. Orbach, I think his name is, has survived the attack in the greenhouse, and he's just got out in the nick of time, like, so they all go down there, and Dewey Martin, his crew chief Bob's got his submachine gun, Thompson submachine gun, and they open the door, and the thing is standing right there, and just goes, and like bats aside like its hand, and its hand comes out, and it's on the door, and its fingers are going, and its big thorny fingers and big claws smash through the wood and go back in, and they nail the door shut and all that. But it's one of those great shock moments. It's right up there with Ben Gardner's head in Jaws. It's right up there. Open the door. Whoa, fuck, Jesus Christ, it's right there. You're like, fuck me. Problem is, when you see James Arness in the makeup, it lets it down a little bit because there's no real great shakes. It's that, but without the hair and a more enhanced sort of FOD, and not much else. You kind of want a bit more stuff going on, but the hands are wonderful, and the things it gets up to are wonderful. It is a masterpiece, and that is fantastic. Steve, cheers, mate. I know you're probably getting a bit pissed off with me, like, but just open that bloody box. But that's well worth it, that is. I don't know where that's going to go. That's going to follow me around the house. That'll literally, and the beauty of these things is they're so light, you can just take them around with you. And I've got so many tacks and other things on the walls, I'll just take that off and I'll put that there. While I'm in that room, that's going to be there. When I go in another room, this is going to come with me and it's going to go on there as well. You know, when I go to bed, it'll be beside me. Oh no, there's another thing that lies beside me. Mrs. Kilt-Man. And there's the music as then Mrs. Kilt-Man throws the duvet back. Come to bed. Be like being a block of ice, mate, to be honest. I'm joking. Folks, there you go. That is The Thing from Another World. Immortalised now in movie canvas art by our great friend Steve 7 Smith. Once again, he's played an absolute blinder. And once again, I worked it out. I think he knew I was going to get this one. But I tried to give a couple of hints on the flurries. I've got flurries of ideas. I'm sure I said something else as well, but I've forgotten now. But yeah, it's wonderful. Steve, mate, I'm absolutely made up with it. And I'm also made up that it wasn't something completely different, because there would have been severe egg on my face. But The Thing. To Howard Hawks and Christian Nyby, however much Christian Nyby actually did. To Kenneth Toby as the heroic Captain Pat Hendry. And most of all, to Crew Chief Bob, without whom the human race would have been annihilated by now. Cheers, y'all. Please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, and keep watching the skies. Keep looking, keep watching the skies. There you go. I'm going to see you all. An intellectual carrot. The mind boggles.